Okay, next, can we have the candidates for Environment and Ethics? That's Orla, Jamie, and Andrew has sent in his host as he is not here this weekend.
Should I do that one first?
Yeah. My laptop says to work again. Okay, Joe is going to read Andrew's host out first, when he's ready.
Hi, this is from Andrew Spence running for CCO Environment and Ethics. I'm really sorry I can't be there today, but as I had prior family commitments, I'm happy to take all questions via email. I'll leave that somewhere else. I'd like to start by congratulating the previous CCO for Environment and aim to continue the good work. In the past, I've always liked working outdoors, and one project I've managed is an eco-garden for 2 years. It's this passion that I'd like to bring over to our university and become part of LUSU to make a difference through unique new policies and development with a fresh approach to issues. Today I'd like to talk about 3 broad areas: Green Lancaster and its promotion, the general environment of the campus, and the ethical practices of LUSU and the university. Concerning Green Lancaster and environmental issues, it's my understanding that last year Green Lancaster was highly successful, including achieving the gold standard in the NUS Green Impact Awards. We shall keep up the good work. However, one development I'd like to make is to increase publicity, especially the new Eco Hub, as currently many people I've spoken to are unaware of its future use. This is a focus of mine for Go Green Week, where I propose we provide free hot drinks and talks at the Eco Hub to promote its location and use. This would be in conjunction with other events throughout the week, including competitions, awareness campaigns, for example promoting the new university wind turbine, and renewing previous successful campaigns like free breakfast to cyclists. Concerning the university campus, one thing that I'd like to work on is the improvement of the general feel of campus. I think we, LUSU, Green Lancaster, and the university should work together to create a plan where there will be more greenery and flower beds throughout the spine. Additionally, developing areas like the pond next to the old sports centre into modern, healthy, green environments. With additional modern bicycle stores, we could create a bid for a share of the big lottery fund, Awards for All. Additional ideas include drinking fountains within every toilet. Plumbing would be easier and faster than independent fountains, and to reduce waste by online-only submission of work using electronic signatures. For ethical development, we should introduce a fair trade and locally sourced section in LUSU retail. To encourage purchases of these, I propose the implementation of a reward system, possibly the use of stamp cards. This could be transferable to other green products like the Keep Cup and maybe the greenest meal deals, fruit and veg. Finally, to promote environmental and ethical awareness, I'd like to work with bars and sugar house managers to run charity shots throughout the year where the profits are allocated appropriately. A different shot each week would be the charity shot, and the charity could be changed termly. In conclusion, Andrew Spence is running for CCO Environment and Ethics for more greenery throughout the spine, a new reward scheme on fair products, and increased promotion and development of Green Lancaster Green Week in the Eco Hub. My first policy I would like to put forward would be to introduce a sections and reward scheme for environmentally sourced local produce, fair trade products in LUSU retail. We should work together to create a fresh, green, fairer campus for the future. Thank you.
Can we have Jamie next, please? When you're ready, Jamie.
All right. Hi, my name is Bradford, and I'm running for CCO Environment and Ethics. Why? Because I believe in challenging the status quo. I think that CCOs and environmental issues need a complete revolution on campus, and I believe that I'm the person to make this happen. When I told people that I was becoming CCO of Environment and Ethics to some of my friends, they laughed at me and told me that I was doing a DOS position. And this is exactly the kind of attitude that I want to change. Why am I running? Because I'm passionate about green issues, and I believe that they don't place highly enough on LUSU agenda, as well as welfare or charity or education. And I believe that I can make that change. Why am I running? Because I believe that I can make a positive impact on carbon emissions and raise our university's profile on green issues. How will I do this? Using my LUSU experience. In first year, I was water aid Gen Sec. This year, I've been Vice President of Bowling College, Captain of the University Fencing Team, now President of the University Club, and through these, and as well as sitting on Union Council. So I have the leadership and vision needed to push through the ideas that green issues need pushing through. How will I do this? Through my environmental passion. I've been working most of my life for an NGO called Eco Memoria, which plants trees in the name of those who died during Pinochet's regime. Both my parents are refugees from said regime, and these trees are a symbol of how we remember them. So environmental issues are something that's really passionate to me, and it's this passion I want to pass on to my role. How will I do this? By running innovative campaigns that don't just rely on social media, but instead use them, but use other ways of promoting them. We need to get out there. We need to use flowers. Nature's one of the most beautiful things in the world, and we rely on Twitter and Facebook to promote it. What will I do in my position? I'll make sure that cycling is safer. I intend to implement simple ideas like giving out free high-vis jackets, cheap bike lights and bike locks, mirrors and clearer signage for those dangerous turns, especially at night. I hope to institutionalize Green Week, make sure that it's well organized, but also make sure to continue to improve it so that it becomes an institution, just in the same way that Xtrav and Campus Fest are an institution on the LUSU calendar. I'll make sure that carbon reduction is high on my list of priorities. I'll sign us up to the NUS campaigns called Student Switch Off and Snap It Off, which have already shown a 7% reduction in carbon emissions across other universities, but paradoxically, our university hasn't already signed up to. I make sure that there'll be a visible impact and try and push to have accessible meters for housing both on and off campus so people can actually see the impact that they're making on green issues and not just put to one side and give everyone a pat on the back for getting a free smoothie out in the square. I'll make sure that the Eco Hub is used and seen by all students and not just given free coffee, but instead you come down there, you plant and see the visible impact, something that I really want to push for across the whole of campus. Finally, of course, water fountains that I think lots of CCO environments have been pushing for is something that I want, and that we have water fountains that are free and accessible and not just tucked away in dingy departmental buildings. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and Orla?
Hey everyone, I'm Orla and I'm running to be your CCO Environment and Ethics. I want this position for exactly the same reason that Jamie wants this position. I love the environment, just keen for it. I cycle, I turn off the lights wherever I go, I bring plastic bags with me so I don't need to use any plastic. I do have experience. I ran a successful eco campaign between the ages of 16 and 18, reducing plastic bags in Plymouth. I was involved with lobbying MPs, lobbying local shops, producing a sculpture that went to the London Wetland Centre. I do have experience being on exec as well. I'm currently the vice president of the debating union, so I've organised an event for 100 plus people with external speakers. So I do have experience then. I may not have as much experience as other candidates, but it's not about experience. I think it's about passion, and because I don't have as much on, I can put my whole heart and time into this role. What I want to do, I've got quite a few things that I would like to do in this position. My first is I'd want to increase the awareness of cycling on campus. I don't think enough people know about the cycling routes that you can use. I want to encourage cycling over busing by giving away things like high-vis goodies or like free breakfasts. I knew that they already ran something like that in Go Green Week and it was really successful. Running crash courses in safety and maintenance, excuse the pun. So like cyclists, because I'm quite an amateur cyclist, so I want to be more confident and competent on the road in case I ever get in some sort of accident or my bike breaks down. Well, a wheel falls off or something exciting like that. In terms of the second thing I want to do is look into the ethics of our university. So looking to like who we bank with, gas and electricity. Are there more ethically friendly options that we could go for? On the People and Planet table, we got 0 out of 3 for our ethical investment. So I think that's something that needs to be improved because we're 84th in the 2012 People and Planet ratings for our like green and ethical rate. Rehydration stations, like Jamie said, we really, really need to push for this with WaterAid, just to discourage the sale of bottled water to decrease waste. As a follow-on from this, pre-cycling, so like as well as decreasing the sale of bottled water, I want to reduce food packaging on campus. So like in the LUSU shops, stop producing as much food packaging and then roll out to like Spar and all the takeaways and stuff. Clothes swapping, it was really successful during the Go Green Week, but not enough people knew about it. So maybe have like a permanent drop-in and swap rail that people can just go to whenever they have like a dress they don't want anymore and like swap it for something. Carbon competition, that it was successful in county, roll out across campus, and I know that there's been some application for funding to do it in LUSU living houses, so really push for that, because
10
our
seconds.
carbon emissions raised by 9.75% since 2005, so we really want to push that back down. Eco-hub, greater participation, more initiatives like the Broadbean
That's
Cooperative
time.
that's going on, and sustainable fruit bushes along the Woodland Trail. Thanks, vote Orla.
Any questions? Okay, we'll start at the back of the room and then move forward, and then finally the three from this table here.
Hello, just to make sure everyone can hear me. In a few months, the campaign group People and Planet is launching a sort of nationwide initiative to try and encourage universities to not sponsor fossil fuel, dirty fueled sort of orientated companies. Recently, there were talks of a possible link between the Environment Centre here and the company Quadrilla, which is involved in fracking, which is obviously not a very green energy source. I would just like to know if the candidate... I would just like to know how far candidates would go to support initiatives that might involve going against management decisions. So if the university management decided they want to invest in something to do with like shells, oil explorations or fracking, how far would the candidates go in challenging those decisions? Thank you.
Jamie first, please.
I'd just like to say, firstly, I love the People and Planet website. I went on there, actually, before I came on, and we're ranked 84th in universities in terms of carbon emissions, so that's something we really need to work on. In terms of fracking, I know that my college, Bowland, along with my fantastic welfare team, are organising a night in their bar, which is going to have all the fracking people and like stalls and things like that. And then it'll be a day where people can come down, learn about fracking issues, get educated, and then they'll know why it's such a bad issue and why we shouldn't tap into these things. I mean, if you look at fracking and how it's happened in America, and the adverse effects, I mean, you can now light water because of the gas it puts into water and the earthquakes it creates. And they want to do things like that in the Lake District. And being a CCO for environment and democracy, this is exactly the kind of thing that I would want to be able to tackle. And I've already started through my college, and I want to be able to push it campus-wide.
Yeah, basically, just I would be very keen on, if they did want to go into something like supporting Shell or going into like, if the university wanted to buy more like fossil fuels, I'd be very opposed to this, and I'd go to all the meetings that were possible for me to go to oppose this, and raise awareness of it amongst the students, like either with a publicity campaign or something, so like to drum up support from the students, because that is another thing that would get the university thinking and like get LUSU involved and get them to really like push for it. And I know that the wind turbine produced enough energy since November 2012 to heat 829 houses in a year. So I think the wind turbine is something that we really need to look at, and we really need to like start going into like renewable sources, looking down that route.
Thank you. There's a question in the middle somewhere. Yeah.
You both mentioned cycling in your hosts. A long time ago, believe it or not, I used to cycle. And this was quite a while ago. The saddle on my bike got nicked on campus. And it was really sad, and it's really difficult to find just a saddle for a bike. How do you ensure, if we are going to encourage people to do this, it's going to have to be safe. Have you got any ideas of how we keep stuff like that safe?
Orla first, please.
There's already the huts, what are they called, the bike stores down here. But I did cycle today actually, and I've noticed there's no like bike rail. Well, there might be, but I might have just been being blind. But there's not really any bike rails around here. So maybe have more. Anyone that like has a bike on campus, you could get like a fob to get into the place, to like the bike store. So maybe give them to everyone that has a bike, whether they're off or on campus, so that they can store them in there and it's like secure. And then you have a record of everyone that can get in and out of there, so that if something's stolen from there, then you know who it could be, essentially.
Actually, I'm suffering the same issue as you. I'm borrowing my girlfriend's bike because I had my saddle stolen, and apparently it's a non-standard girth, so you have to apply for a different saddle all the way from Scotland to get it really fixed. But anyway, what I do is, alongside what Orla said with having key fobs, I just think you need more sheltered places for you to put your bikes in general, because I think there's lots around campus, but not in the key areas where you're putting them up for seminar rooms and those kind of things. And I think just being smart about placements And I think a lot of time in Southwest campus, they're very good with putting up housing and for bikes, but not so much in the north end of campus where it gets really busy, especially during the day.
And Tom?
There's been some really brilliant ideas for raising awareness on campus and just general ideas on campus and for the students. But personally, I think it's very important that we take into account the people in Lancaster and the community in Lancaster, because there's so much we can do, but if they're not doing it, it's going to have an effect on that. How important do you think it is that we work with the community in Lancaster on these green issues? Have you got any ideas for how we can go about doing that?
Jamie first, please.
I think I'm right in saying that they're renovating new space out by the barn on this side of campus. And I think that's something that was mentioned in EWD Council, was turning it into like a farmers cooperative. I think that would be something that's be very useful. Instead of just having like a market every Thursday, we set up a farmers cooperative, something that can be used by local producers. They can come down, sell their products for cheap prices, and we know that the profit is going straight back to them and not back to other companies. And we also know that it's locally sourced and therefore environmentally friendly. I think it's simple ideas like a farmers cooperative that can also raise our profile, not only amongst other universities, but in Lancashire area as well, because I don't think we work enough with local producers.
Yeah, as most second year students and some third year students live off campus, like say in town or wherever, I think it's really important to integrate environment and ethics on campus with the people, with our students that are off campus, as well as like the local area and like the local people. So things like if the carbon competition was rolled out to like LUSU living houses, it would incentivize people to sort of like, like switch off lights or whatever in the LUSU. It brings part of the university atmosphere outside of the university, like off campus. And yeah, like Jamie said, running initiatives that can be brought by local Lancaster people into the university, so market days or whatever, things like that.
Thank you. Any more questions? Liz?
Hi everyone, hi. Yeah, I was just going to mention the fact that at Lancaster, I don't know if you guys are aware, but LEC at the moment have been introducing into their degree schemes a number of different energy saving projects that the students are running. Like for example, there was one whereby in county main houses they put in washing machines instead of people using, washing up by hand. I just wanted to know, have you heard about these? What is your opinion on them, and how do you think you can work with different faculties as well as different CCOs to encourage different events like this?
Orla first, please.
I can't say I have heard about this, but I know that I did look at the people, like Jamie, I looked at the People and Planet website, and Lancaster was scored really lowly for like curriculum, so what they have about curriculum. So I do think it is a good idea, especially within the Environment Centre, because they're specifically people that want to know about it. But I think there needs to be more ways that we raise awareness, not just within the Environment Centre, but people that do, I don't know, like history or politics or something, just raise environmental issues generally to the masses through like publicity campaigns or through running these different initiatives and publicising them well. So I've forgotten the end part of that question, but essentially, yeah, I finished that. James?
I think the fact that neither of us have heard of such a campaign is kind of indicative about the CCO environments, their last job, and also how much green issues are promoted. I did email Laura Hyman asking her about what challenges she faced, she didn't get back to me. But anyway, what I'd like to say is that the CCOs, I think they're best, now that we've reduced their numbers, I think they're best working as a team, as a unit. Their abilities to publicise things, cross-campus, use LUSU's abilities, but I also think that using academic side of universities' facilities is something that I haven't really thought of, but something that I'm saying I definitely think we should push for. And I think the idea of using LEC and I think we sometimes forget how much that we can, as a students' union, use academic facilities like the Environmental Centre and push those forward.
Thank you. I'll take one more question. Joel?
Yeah, I think both your hosts have been really good, and you've kind of, in part, answered my question. Sitting on environment and ethics this year, one of the things that we've concluded is that putting smart meters in residences on campus isn't actually financially viable. So I want to know what initiatives or ideas you've got to get students to reduce their carbon footprint in residences.
Jamie first, please.
I'm glad you mentioned this actually, because it's something I didn't really get to cover in my manifesto. And it's two things that the NUS runs, but that we're not signed up to. They're both called, got it written down, the student switch off and snap it off. The student switch off, it gives you lots of simple ways to reduce your energy. Just things as simply as covering your pot while you're cooking, which reduces the amount of time and energy electricity energy needed to cook food by about 90%. Switching off lights, putting on jumpers instead of turning up the heating. And this has already reduced carbon emissions by 7% across all other campuses that have been involved, so that's something that we should be a part of. Also, something that's a bit more fun is called Snap It Off, which is also run by the NUS, where if you take a photo of buildings on campus which have got their lights on during night but they're left empty, or even places around Lancaster, and the best photos not only get a free MP3 player, but then the NUS lobbies them to make sure that they're turning off those buildings during the night. So I think those are simple and easy ways of reducing and actually bringing tangible change. Instead of just planting trees around campus and making it look pretty, we need to reduce carbon emissions, and these are the ways that this can be done.
Paula?
Yeah, I think especially with the, as it's like not a financially viable option, and also some people are just not that pushed by incentive to like turn off lights. They'd rather have the light and the electricity than, I don't know, like a few pound or like some prize at the end. So I think it's about making people more aware of like the effect of carbon. So like Jamie was saying, like running campaigns, running publicity campaigns. I don't know, there could be some way of, we could run some like carbon footprint campaign, like putting footprints around campus or something like that and running a big publicity campaign with it. So just so that people are more aware, and then letting them know about the little things that they can do, like, I don't know, like keep putting lids on their pots or something. And there's also like really small, cheap energy saving things you can get, like there's things that you can put in like toilets that when you flush it like saves litres of water and stuff like that. So, yeah, all of the above.
Thank you very much to our candidates for Environment and Ethics. Next up, can we have international candidates, please? So now we have Rebecca and Lee for CCO International. Did I say Rebecca and Lee? Yeah. I meant Rebecca and Omar, sorry.
It's Rebecca, Lee and Mohammed.
Yeah. Rebecca? Does anyone know where she is? Omar, it's down to you. When you're ready.
Right, good afternoon everyone. It has indeed been a long day. Good news is we're reaching towards the end of the HUST. So my name's Omar Anwar and I'm running to be our next cross-campus international officer. A little about me, I come from a very much international background myself, having lived in India for a few years, and I've spent the majority of my life in the UAE. Currently, I am the international officer for File College. I chose to run for this post because I am a pretty confident person. I have good communication and leadership skills, and lastly, the experience, just the sort of experience needed for this post. I joined uni last year in October and got elected as a JCR exec around Christmas time. Within the short period of a term and a half, I have held cross-campus events and have campaigned for the betterment of my college as a community. As a matter of fact, I have an event at my bar tonight. Moving on, I believe that doing a degree at Lancaster is not all about getting high grades. It is also about learning from our diverse community and respecting diverse cultures. Likewise, an international student comes to Lancaster for the whole Lancaster experience, a major part of which is indulging and learning about British culture. That is something most of the international students miss out upon. But I promise you, if you elect me, I will continue working towards helping international students gaining the whole Lancaster experience. Elect me and I promise you that I will safeguard every international student's rights, ensure their welfare, and make sure that no voice is unheard. Our county council's boards read, Lancashire, a place where everyone matters. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in practicing that statement and making our university a home away from home for international students. Let no one be left behind or excluded. So help me in my effort to make Lancaster Uni a tightly knit community. Lastly, you are the real power in a democratic system. Over this week, you can decide who the right candidate is and cast your vote. So I plead you, please do vote because it does matter and we care. Thank you.
Okay, any questions, please? Tom? Is the only one I can see? Oh, Patrick, have you got your hand up yet?
Hey, Omar. As you know, currently the International Student Association is being set up, and hopefully by Freshers Week we'll have something to go on. But obviously, as it starts, it's not going to start as big as we would hope, and we're probably going to go through struggles along the way. What kind of things do you plan on doing to make sure that we get people to come to student associations and to engage in it? Because as much as we can say we set one up, it doesn't necessarily mean people are going to come to it.
Yeah, to start off with it, I have been constantly involved with the formation of the ISA with Rosalia and Diana, who is our current international CCO. And I have had ideas since the beginning. I have made initiative to talk to people at ISA at York and take different perspectives from people working at a JCR and people working for the ISA and LUSU. I believe that our basic aim setting up ISA should be that we bridge the gap between the JCRs and the cultural societies, because they're all out there to achieve the same motive, to achieve cross-cultural integration. But I think is that there's an overlapping of efforts from both these sides. So my basic thing would be to bridge this gap, get the two fronts closer, and let's both of us work together towards the same thing.
Thank you. And question from Patrick.
Hi, Omar. Just a question about the ISA again, and I was wondering if you've researched any other ISAs in other universities, and I was wondering what you thought about why we've taken so long to actually come to this point, because I know that last year people were saying, yeah, we're going to make an ISA, but nothing really came from that. So I'm just a bit skeptical about how it's going to work.
Right, thanks for the question, Patrick. Good one. I strongly believe that us in Lancaster have great potential to be a truly world-class cosmopolitan university, but we are nowhere close to being that. And I have researched a lot, and I don't really know because it's my first year in uni, so I don't know what has happened in the last few years, but I assure you that I have been making efforts, and if elected, I will continue doing so, and I will have something set up before the Freshers Week.
Thank you. Any more questions? One from Tappy, back.
Hi. Earlier on you mentioned about the foundation students who are not really represented. What efforts would you like to make to have them represented?
Well, yes, there's one thing. I feel democracy, in a way, shouldn't be two-faced, if I may say. It shouldn't cater to a specific group of people and leave out a specific group of people. I know that the ISC students aren't a part of the university, but they are very much a part of LUSU. However, they do not get voting rights. They do not get to choose who represents them. That's the basic of democracy. We keep talking about democracy all day long, but it's not there at the grassroots level because it's a very small section of people. It's about 100 people from 12,000 people we have at uni. So the first thing, if elected, I will look into this matter, and I will make sure that whatever can be done should be done. Those people should be represented, and their voices shouldn't go unheard.
How can I compete with that? Omar, you did one of the strongest Hustings we've seen today, and I think you're a fantastic candidate. Good luck. My question is, what was it particularly about your Freshers Week that got you involved, got you motivated to become a LUSU officer? And what do you think you could do to get more international students to want to be LUSU officers?
Right, yeah, good question. I'll start off answering that on a slightly different note. I think of that every time I think that why aren't international students more involved with LUSU? I'm also an international student, but I am pretty much involved. I'm in the loop all the time. And when I look back at my Freshers Week, I see that my JCR was constantly catering to whatever I needed, talking to me, motivating me, making me feel at home, and always make me feel very comfortable. I think that's a very important aspect. And one of my first friends in university was my JCR's ex-international officer. And I guess he plays a very important part why I stood up for the elections and filed, and I'm sitting here today.
Are there any more questions?
Hi. What are your opinions on the current support for international students, and what would you say that since you've been here, how have you personally done?
Okay, could you repeat the question again, please?
What is your opinion on the current support for international students, and how would you say you have developed since you've been here?
As I said, it's different in different parts. The ISC is completely ignored. Undergrad students are looked after, but by different bodies. The management school looks after their international undergrads. They have separate programs for their undergrads. LUSU does help. We have help from our SCR and the JCR. We have academic drop-ins for academic help because back home there is hardly anything called plagiarism, to be honest. So there are efforts in different areas, but there's no holistic effort made to cater to the international segment as a whole. And as an individual, I can tell you that from my personal experience, I have helped more than 4 students, filed students, help them in their academics because they were really struggling when they began university. So as an individual, yes, that.
What do you think about monitoring of international students?
About what?
Monitoring, you know.
Oh, mentoring. Okay. Mentoring in what way exactly?
Of your education. How do you go in for lectures, seminars, and stuff?
Right. Now, since right now I'm Files International Officer, I'm going to speak with that perspective. Currently, I have recruited and assigned a team of international freshers reps, a team of 20 to cater to about 150 international students that we're expecting in filed. These 20 people have a very different role than a normal freshers reps. These students would actually be working as guides for the international students, catering to their special needs, if they're feeling homesick, having a problem with academics, don't know what to do in the country, probably, you know, there are different stores, different everything, they don't know where to buy groceries from, etc., helping them out with that. And they will be in contact with the international students over a period of 2 terms, meeting them once every month and ensuring that their welfare, yeah.
Hello. I think there's definitely sort of a habit of taking all non-UK students and just sort of grouping them under the banner of being international. What's your opinion on doing that instead of, say, trying to cater to the cultural needs of each one? Obviously, we'll come from different cultures.
Could you repeat the last part of the question, sorry?
Basically, instead of just grouping them all as international students, what's your opinion on how would you sort of cater to the needs of each of them, which will come from different cultures?
Right, yes. I'm going to be completely honest on this. I'm going to accept the fact that I can never completely represent each and every culture present in our university. But there is a remedy to that. We have at our grassroots a very important resource, which are the cultural societies. I feel every LUSU officer needs to work with these societies, get in touch with them, and connect those links, just connect the dots. If a person from same ethical background comes to you with a problem, but you don't know what to do about it, you need to go to the cultural society and link them up and help them talk, because sometimes you are not the person who solves the problem. Sometimes you're a person who bridges the gap between a person who knows a solution and a person who is in the problem.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.